Close your eyes for a moment. Let the day grow quiet around you. Let the sounds of the present slowly drift away, like dust carried gently on a warm evening wind. And now, far beyond the bright lights and restless noise of today, imagine another world waiting in silence. A world of river water and soft mud. A world of reed boats rocking gently against worn wooden docks. A world where the first light of morning spreads slowly over the Nile, touching the tops of date palms and warming the flat roofs of mud-brick homes. Tonight, we walk there. Into ancient Egypt. Not into the great stone temples. Not into the halls of kings. But into the smaller spaces. The narrow sleeping rooms. The smoky kitchens. The crowded courtyards where children woke each morning and reached for the same simple foods they had eaten every day of their young lives. Tonight, we follow them. The children of farmers. The children of fishermen. The children of scribes and bakers and brick makers. The children who ran barefoot across cool stone floors before sunrise. The children who sat beside clay ovens while bread baked in the quiet dark. The children who carried jars of water. Who watched goats wander dusty lanes. Who ate their first meal before the heat became too heavy. Their world was slow. Their meals were simple. Their hunger was familiar. And their food told the story of their lives. The night is still. The river moves softly nearby. Somewhere, in the distance, an owl calls once. A candle burns low inside a mud-brick home. And a child is sleeping. The house is small. Its walls are made of sun-dried earth, rough beneath careful fingers. Its roof is flat, built from wood and reeds and packed mud. Inside, the air is warm. The heat of the day has not fully left the walls. The floor beneath sleeping mats is cool stone, worn smooth by years of sandals and bare feet. A clay lamp flickers quietly. Its flame dances in soft yellow light. Near the wall, baskets rest covered with linen cloth. Inside them, tomorrow's bread waits. Simple barley loaves. Dense and heavy. Dark and rough. Nearby, clay jars hold water drawn from the Nile before sunset. A faint smell of grain fills the room. A little smoke still lingers from the cooking fire. The family sleeps close together. Parents. Grandparents. Children curled beneath woven blankets. Outside, the village is quiet. Dogs lie sleeping in doorways. Palm leaves rustle softly. The river breathes against its banks. And then, slowly, before the sun has even touched the horizon, someone stirs. A mother rises first. She moves quietly. Her feet barely making sound against the floor. She adjusts the lamp. She kneels beside the clay oven. She adds dried reeds. A tiny crackle. A faint orange glow. Soon, the room begins to warm. This is how the day begins. And soon, the children begin to wake. One shifts beneath a blanket. Another rubs tired eyes. A younger child reaches for a parent's hand before sitting up. There is no rushing. No loud voices. Only the slow beginning of another ordinary day. And with waking comes hunger. Not sharp hunger. Not desperate hunger. Just the familiar emptiness that arrives every morning. Children in ancient Egypt ate what their families could prepare. What the land could provide. What could survive the heat. What could be stored in baskets and jars. Their meals were not varied. Most days tasted very much like the day before. And yet each meal mattered. Each loaf. Each onion. Each fig. Each sip of cool river water. The first food of the morning was often bread. Bread was everywhere. Bread was life. For many children, bread was the first thing they smelled when they woke. Their mothers or older sisters had prepared the dough the night before. Ground grain mixed with water. Sometimes barley. Sometimes emmer wheat. The flour was coarse. Tiny pieces of stone from the grinding process often remained mixed inside. The bread could be heavy. Sometimes gritty against the teeth. But it filled the stomach. And that mattered most. A child sits near the oven now. Still sleepy. Hair uncombed. Eyes half closed. Watching as warm loaves are lifted from the fire. Steam rises into the cool early air. The smell is earthy. Nutty. Comforting. The child waits patiently. Small hands resting on bare knees. Outside, dawn is beginning. A pale line of silver appears beyond the Nile. Birds begin to stir among the reeds. The bread is broken by hand. No neat slices. No careful portions. Just pieces torn and shared. One child receives a warm piece. Still hot enough to make fingers shift quickly. The crust is rough. The inside dense and soft. It is eaten slowly. Chewed carefully. Sometimes dipped in water to soften it. Sometimes spread with crushed dates. Sometimes paired with onions or garlic. Onions were common. Children often ate them raw. Sharp and strong. Their smell filled kitchens and courtyards. A small onion may sit beside the bread. Its skin pale and dry. A child peels it with practiced fingers. Takes a bite. The flavor is powerful. Familiar. Normal. No one complains. This is breakfast. Sometimes there is porridge. Warm grain cooked slowly with water. Simple and plain. Served in clay bowls. Children hold the bowls carefully. Steam touching their faces. The porridge settles warmly in empty stomachs. It gives strength for the long hours ahead. Some families have dates. Sweet and soft. Pressed between fingers. Their sticky sweetness is a rare comfort. Children savor them slowly. A gift from the trees. Sometimes figs. Sometimes little handfuls of beans. Sometimes leftover vegetables from the day before. But always, bread. Bread beside the river. Bread in the fields. Bread carried into workshops. Bread eaten beneath shade trees. Bread at sunrise. Bread at dusk. Bread every day. As the sky brightens, the village begins to move. Sandals scrape against stone. Doors open. Voices murmur. Donkeys bray somewhere nearby. Children finish their meal quickly now. The day is waiting. Some must help their parents in the fields. Some carry baskets. Some fetch water. Some care for younger siblings. Even small children have tasks. A little girl balances a clay jar against her hip. She walks with careful steps toward the river. The air is still cool. Mist rises softly above the Nile. Other children move beside her. Quiet. Sleepy. Their stomachs warmed by bread and grain. Their feet already dusty. They talk softly. Simple conversations. Small laughter. Then silence again. The river waits. Wide and calm. The Nile gives everything. Water. Fish. Mud for bricks. Life for crops. And much of what children eat begins here. Some mornings, fishermen return early. Their reed boats sliding quietly toward shore. Nets heavy with silver fish. Children gather nearby. Watching. Waiting. Fish is not an everyday food for every family. But for some children living close to the river, it appears often enough. Small fish roasted over open flame. Salted fish dried beneath the sun. Pieces shared among many mouths. A child may carry home one small fish wrapped in palm leaves. It will be cooked later. The smell of roasting fish will fill the home by evening. But for now, the village moves toward work. The sun rises. Its warmth spreads quickly. And children begin their long day. In the fields beyond the village, the earth is dark and rich. Farmers bend low among rows of barley and wheat. Children help where they can. Pulling weeds. Carrying bundles. Scaring birds from grain. The heat grows steadily. Sweat gathers on small foreheads. Dust clings to skin. Their breakfast feels far away already. But food will come again. At midday, there may be another small meal. A pause beneath the shade of palms. A cloth unwrapped. More bread. Always bread. Sometimes lentils. Cooked soft in clay pots. Simple lentil stew. Warm and thick. Children dip bread into it. Careful not to spill. Some days, cucumbers. Cool and wet. Their fresh taste a relief beneath the heavy sun. Some days, radishes. Crunching sharply between tired teeth. Some days, nothing more than water and bread. And still, they eat with gratitude. Because food is work. Every bite represents effort. The grain had to be planted, cut, carried, ground by hand, mixed, baked. Every meal contains hours of labor. Children know this. Even when they are young. They see their mothers kneeling over grinding stones. Backs aching. Hands roughened. Grinding grain for long stretches of the day. Stone against stone. A steady scraping sound. One of the quiet songs of ancient life. Sometimes children help. Small hands pushing grain forward. Trying to imitate older movements. Learning early how food is made. Learning how much patience it requires. By afternoon, the heat becomes heavy. Very heavy. Children grow quiet. Their movements slow. Some rest beneath walls. Some nap briefly beside baskets. Some drink carefully from clay cups. The Nile water is cool. Its surface reflecting bright sunlight. Nearby, in homes and workshops, food for evening begins. The smell of baking rises again. Bread for supper. Bread for tomorrow. Children return dusty and tired. Their feet sore. Their shoulders warm from the sun. And slowly, one by one, they gather again inside their homes. The day softens. The light turns golden. Shadows lengthen. A mother crushes herbs in a small bowl. Another stirs beans over flame. A father repairs a fishing net nearby. Children sit quietly. Watching. Waiting. Their hunger returning. Evening meals are simple. Often very much like morning. Bread. Vegetables. Beans. Sometimes fish. Sometimes cheese made from goat's milk. Soft and salty. A rare comfort. Sometimes dates again. Sweetness before sleep. The family eats close together. Hands reaching into shared bowls. No hurry. No waste. Outside, the village becomes quiet once more. The river darkens. Frogs begin their gentle calls. Palm leaves whisper above the rooftops. Children lean against parents. Sleepy now. Full enough. Safe enough. A little boy chews slowly on his final piece of bread. His eyes are heavy. His fingers dusty. A little girl licks date syrup from her thumb. She watches the candle flame. The room glows softly. Food has done its quiet work. Strength for another day. Comfort before sleep. Memory for tomorrow. Soon, blankets are spread again. Bodies settle onto woven mats. The oven cools. The clay jars rest. Outside, the Nile moves through the darkness. And inside these small mud-brick homes, children sleep. Their stomachs warmed by bread. Their dreams shaped by ordinary days. Tomorrow, they will wake again. To bread. To onions. To figs. To lentils. To river water. To sunlight. To work. To hunger. To food prepared by loving, tired hands. And the ancient night will slowly pass over them, gentle and quiet, as the soft wind moves through the reeds beside the Nile. The night remains quiet for only a little while. The candle has long gone dark. The cooking fire has faded into soft gray ash. Inside the mud-brick home, the air feels cooler now, touched by the last gentle hours before dawn. Outside, the Nile moves in silence. Its black surface reflects a thin line of moonlight. Reeds sway softly at the water's edge. Far away, a dog barks once, then settles again. The children sleep deeply. Their breathing slow. Their hands tucked beneath their faces. Their tired feet dusty even in rest. One child dreams of the river. Another dreams of warm bread. Perhaps one dreams of sweet dates hanging high in the palm trees, just beyond reach. Their world is simple, but their dreams are wide. And slowly, as the stars begin to fade, the first sounds of morning begin again. A rooster calls from somewhere across the village. A donkey shifts against a wooden post. A mother stirs. Her hands move before her eyes fully open, already reaching for the day's first tasks. This is how life moves here. Not in great leaps, but in quiet circles. Day after day. Meal after meal. Season after season. Children grow inside these routines. And food marks the passing of their days. A young boy wakes first this morning. He is perhaps 7 years old. Old enough to help. Old enough to understand hunger. He sits up slowly on the woven mat, blinking in the soft gray light. The room smells faintly of earth and smoke. He can hear his mother kneeling beside the grinding stone. That steady sound begins again. Stone against stone. Grain becoming flour. A slow scraping rhythm. One of the oldest sounds in human life. The boy listens. He has heard it every morning for as long as he can remember. It is comforting. It means breakfast is coming. It means another ordinary day has begun. He rises quietly and steps onto the cool floor. The stone feels smooth beneath his bare feet. He walks toward the doorway and looks outside. The village is waking. Thin smoke rises from rooftops. Women sweep courtyards with bundles of reeds. Men prepare tools for the fields. Children emerge one by one from dark doorways, still wrapped in sleep. The sky above the Nile has turned pale blue. The first warmth of the sun has not yet arrived. This is the gentlest hour. The easiest hour. Before the heat. Before the labor. Before dust fills the air. His mother calls softly. He returns inside. She hands him a small piece of yesterday's bread. It is firm now. Cool and dry. Harder than when it was baked. He dips it into a bowl of water to soften it. Then he eats. Slowly. Carefully. Each bite takes time. Ancient bread asks for patience. Its texture is rough. Tiny grains press against the teeth. Sometimes small bits of grit remain hidden inside, left there from the grinding stones. Children learn to chew gently. To accept imperfection. To eat what is given. There is no complaint. Only hunger meeting food. His younger sister wakes now. Her hair is tangled from sleep. She rubs her eyes and leans against their mother's shoulder. She receives a small bowl. Warm porridge this morning. Barley cooked with water. A little thicker than yesterday. Steam rises softly into the cool room. She cups the bowl with both hands. The warmth travels into her fingers. Into her arms. Into her still sleepy body. She blows across the surface. Then takes the first careful taste. Plain. Soft. Comforting. She eats in silence. Outside, the village grows louder. Footsteps. Quiet voices. The sound of sandals brushing over packed earth. A cartwheel creaks somewhere nearby. Birds call from the palm trees. And from the river comes the distant splash of oars. Some children are already walking toward the Nile. They carry small jars for water. Others bring baskets to collect reeds or dung for fuel. Some are too young for heavy tasks. But even the smallest hands can help. A little girl balances a bundle of onions against her chest. She carries them carefully home from the market path. Their sharp smell fills the air around her. Onions are everywhere here. Their taste is strong. Their smell clings to fingers. They are eaten with bread. With lentils. With fish. Sometimes roasted. Sometimes raw. Children learn their flavor early. A bite of onion can wake the senses. Can cut through morning sleep. Can make simple bread feel fuller. The boy takes one now. His mother peels away the dry outer skin. The pale layers beneath shine softly in the dim light. He bites. His face tightens for just a moment. Then relaxes. He chews slowly. Sharpness fading into sweetness. This, too, is comfort. This, too, is familiar. In another home nearby, a child wakes to a sweeter breakfast. Her father tends date palms. Their family has more access to fruit. A small clay plate holds fresh dates. Dark and soft. Their skins wrinkled by the sun. She picks one up carefully. Presses it between her fingers. It yields easily. Sticky sweetness coats her fingertips. She places it in her mouth. Its taste is deep. Rich. Almost honey-like. A rare morning gift. Not every child has this. Some may taste dates only occasionally. Others more often. It depends on the family. The harvest. The season. The Nile's generosity. Food here is never guaranteed. Even in peaceful years. The river must rise. The fields must drink. The grain must grow. When the Nile floods well, stomachs stay fuller. When its waters fail, meals become smaller. Children know these changes without needing words. They notice thinner bread. Fewer figs. Smaller portions. Longer pauses between meals. But this morning, the food is enough. The children eat. And soon, the work begins. A boy follows his father to the fields. The sun now climbs above the horizon. Its warmth touches his shoulders. The earth is damp beneath his feet. Mud clings softly to his ankles. The scent of wet soil rises into the air. The barley sways gently in the morning breeze. Before labor begins, his father unwraps a cloth. Inside is more bread. Always more bread. Broken into pieces. A few olives. A small wedge of soft goat cheese. The boy smiles quietly. Cheese is not an everyday comfort. Its salty softness feels special. He eats it slowly, trying to make the taste last. Nearby, another child joins her mother at the village ovens. Large clay ovens glow with steady heat. Women knead dough together. Hands pressing, folding, turning flour and water into something sustaining. Children watch, then help. Small hands dusted with flour. Tiny palms flattening rough circles of dough. Some loaves will feed families. Some will be traded. Some offered to workers in exchange for labor. Bread is more than food. It is payment. Security. Daily hope. The child brushes loose flour from her arms. It settles onto the floor like pale dust. The smell here is wonderful. Warm grain. Smoke. Fire. The deep scent of baking bread. For a hungry child, this smell can feel almost like a promise. Outside, the heat begins to rise. The easy coolness of dawn disappears. Children squint beneath growing sunlight. Sweat forms at the edges of their hair. Their first meal feels farther away. By midday, hunger returns. They gather where shade can be found. Under date palms. Beside mud walls. Near fishing boats pulled onto shore. Lunch is simple. Bread again. Bread wrapped in linen. Bread softened with water. Sometimes dipped into lentil mash. Lentils are common. Brown. Green. Earthy and filling. Cooked in clay pots over slow fire. A mother may flavor them with herbs. Or garlic. Or onion. A child tears bread and scoops the lentils carefully, trying not to spill. The food is warm. Heavy. Good. Nearby, another child drinks from a clay cup. The Nile water is cool. Drawn fresh this morning. Though not always perfectly clean, it is life itself. Some families mix water with weak beer made from grain. Children sometimes drink this, too. It is mild. Cloudy. Nutritious. Safer, often, than standing water. Its taste is sour and strange to modern minds. But to them, it is ordinary. Even comforting. A little boy lifts his cup carefully. Drinks. Wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. Returns to his bread. Around him, the village hums softly. Tools strike stone. Fish dry beneath the sun. Goats wander through narrow lanes. Older children chase each other briefly before work calls them back. There is laughter. But it is quiet. Brief. The day remains heavy. And slowly, the afternoon stretches. Some children help in workshops. A potter's child carries damp clay. A scribe's child watches ink being mixed. A fisherman's daughter untangles nets. Everywhere, small hands are busy. And always, food waits somewhere in the background. Cooling on windowsills. Drying in baskets. Stored in clay jars. Food shapes the rhythm of every household. As the sun begins to lower, shadows return. The air softens. Relief moves through the village. Children walk home slowly. Dust clings to their legs. Their shoulders ache. Their stomachs begin to empty once more. Smoke rises again from household fires. Evening meals begin. This time, there is fish in one home. Small fish from the Nile. Their skins crisp from roasting. Their scent fills the narrow room. Children gather close. Eyes bright, but bodies tired. The fish is shared carefully. Tiny bones picked out with practiced fingers. Bread waits beside it. Of course. Always bread. Another family has bean stew. Another has cucumbers and radishes. Another has only bread and onions tonight. And still, they eat together. Hands reaching into shared bowls. Voices soft. The day's burdens loosening. The children chew slowly. The room glows with firelight. Walls flicker with moving shadows. Outside, the Nile grows dark once more. Its waters calm. Its presence steady. A little girl finishes her meal. She leans against her mother. Her eyelids grow heavy. Her fingers still smell faintly of onion and flour. A little boy curls beside the warm oven wall, listening to adults speak in low voices. He hears words he does not fully understand. Harvest. Water levels. Tomorrow's work. But none of it troubles him. His stomach is warm. His body is tired. His world feels safe. Soon, blankets are spread. The lamps are dimmed. The fire fades to red. The village settles into silence. And once again, children sleep in mudbrick homes beside the Nile. Their dreams filled with bread and river water. With palm trees and warm stone floors. With the smells of grain and smoke. With the quiet comfort of ordinary meals. And somewhere, before sleep fully takes them, perhaps they wonder what tomorrow's bread will taste like. The night folds gently over the village once again. The sounds of the day have slowly disappeared. No more footsteps in the dust. No more voices calling across narrow lanes. No more donkeys shifting beneath heavy baskets. Only the soft breath of the Nile. Only the faint rustle of reeds in the darkness. Only the quiet warmth still held inside the mud-brick walls. The children sleep, curled on woven mats, arms tucked beneath their heads, feet dusty from the long day. Their bellies are not full in the way we might imagine fullness. Not heavy. Not overflowing. But settled. Calm. Comforted enough. Their bodies know this feeling well. Enough bread. Enough lentils. Enough water. Enough to sleep. And for now, that is all they need. The moon hangs softly above the river. Its pale light touches the rooftops. It brushes over clay jars left outside to cool. It glimmers on fishing boats tied along the bank. Inside one small home, a basket of grain waits quietly in the corner. Tomorrow's meals are already there. Not yet bread. Not yet porridge. Not yet dough beneath careful hands. Only dry kernels. Tiny and silent. But filled with promise. Everything begins there. Children in ancient Egypt knew grain almost before they knew words. They watched it change. They watched their mothers kneel for hours, grinding it into flour. They watched water poured carefully into clay bowls. They watched fingers press and shape the soft dough. They watched bread disappear into hot ovens and return transformed. Food was not hidden from them. It was not distant. It was not something that arrived ready-made. It was work. Visible work. Slow work. And so, they understood it deeply. Even very young children. Before dawn, a small child wakes. Too early. The sky outside is still dark. The room is quiet. Everyone else remains asleep. For a moment, the child lies still, listening. A parent's soft breathing. The faint creak of the roof above. The whisper of night air moving through the doorway. Then, quietly, the child rises. Bare feet touch the cool stone floor. The air feels different now. Fresh. Cooler than it will feel later. The child walks toward the basket near the wall. Inside are pieces of leftover bread. Hard now. Dry. Simple. A small hand reaches in. Finds one piece. Brings it to the mouth. The first bite is quiet. Almost secret. The bread cracks softly between small teeth. No fire yet. No cooking yet. Just a sleepy child and yesterday's bread. Sometimes hunger wakes before the sun. Sometimes children eat in silence before anyone else stirs. A private little meal. A moment of comfort. The bread tastes familiar. A little sour. A little earthy. Dusty flour still clings to its surface. The child chews slowly, looking toward the doorway where faint starlight spills across the floor. Outside, the Nile waits. Always waiting. Soon, the mother wakes. She sees the child. She smiles softly. No words are needed. She kneels beside the cooking place. Her hands move with memory. She arranges dried reeds. Blows gently. A spark catches. A tiny orange light begins to grow. Soon, warmth fills the room. Smoke curls upward. The day begins again. Today, there is enough grain for fresh bread. The mother takes flour from a clay jar. It feels cool and soft between her fingers. She adds water slowly. Mixes. Folds. Presses. The dough begins to form. Nearby, another child has awakened. Older now. Perhaps 10 years old. Old enough to help more. Strong enough to grind grain. The child kneels beside the grinding stone. Places both hands on the upper stone. Pushes. Pulls. Pushes again. A slow, heavy rhythm. Stone scraping against stone. Grain breaking apart. Becoming something new. This work is tiring. The shoulders ache. The arms burn. Dust rises into the air. Fine flour settles on skin. But the child continues. Patiently. This is what turns hunger into food. Outside, the sky begins to pale. The village wakes in layers. First the birds. Then the animals. Then the people. A fisherman's son steps outside and walks toward the riverbank. The ground is cool beneath his feet. Damp earth presses softly against his soles. He breathes in deeply. The air smells of mud. Water. Palm leaves. Fresh reeds. His father is already there, preparing nets. They will go out soon. Before the sun rises too high. Fish are part of his life in a way grain is not. He knows their silver shapes. He knows the smell of drying fish. He knows how the tiny bones must be removed carefully while eating. When fish are brought home, meals feel richer. More satisfying. Though never luxurious. Nothing here is luxurious. Only simple gifts. A good catch. A soft loaf. A handful of dates. A ripe fig. These are treasures enough. Back in the village, the first bread enters the oven. The smell spreads quickly. Warm. Deep. Almost sweet. Children notice immediately, even before their eyes are fully open. The smell of baking bread pulls them gently from sleep. It tells them the day can begin. One little girl sits near the oven, knees tucked beneath her. She watches carefully. The bread swells. The crust darkens. Steam escapes in tiny sighs. Her stomach tightens with hunger. She waits patiently. Patience is something all children here must learn. Food takes time. Everything takes time. At last, a loaf is lifted out, placed on a flat stone to cool. The child watches the steam rise. Her fingers twitch. But she waits. Hot bread burns. She knows this. Soon, a piece is torn free, placed into her hands. Warm. Too warm. She shifts it from one palm to the other. Then takes a careful bite. Soft inside. Rough crust outside. The taste is plain. Wonderful. Perfect. She closes her eyes for a moment. There is comfort in this first bite. Comfort deeper than flavor. Comfort in repetition. In knowing what the morning will bring. Bread. Always bread. Sometimes, children eat with little additions. A smear of date paste. A few crushed herbs. A small piece of soft cheese. Today, this family has goat cheese. White and crumbly. Salt clings to its surface. The mother breaks off tiny portions. Each child receives only a little. Enough to savor. Enough to brighten the bread. A boy places the cheese onto his loaf. Takes a bite. The salt spreads across his tongue. Richness, even in something so simple. He smiles. Quietly. No one says much during breakfast. The day has not fully begun. Words feel unnecessary. Only chewing. Only swallowing. Only preparing for the hours ahead. After eating, children move into their tasks. One girl accompanies her older sister to fetch vegetables. They walk along dusty paths lined with mud brick walls. The sun has risen now. Golden light spills across the village. Palm shadows stretch long and thin. In a small garden beside a home, cucumbers grow low to the earth. Cool and green. The girls gather them carefully. Their skins are smooth beneath dusty fingers. Nearby, radishes are pulled from dark soil. Bright. Sharp. Peppery. These vegetables will join tonight's meal. Another child gathers figs. The tree offers shade. Its branches spread wide above the courtyard. The figs are soft. Their skins delicate. Some split open with sweetness. The child handles them gently. A ripe fig is a fragile treasure. One is eaten immediately. Juice clings to the lips. Tiny seeds crunch softly between the teeth. Sweetness like this is remembered. Especially by children. Later, during the hottest hours, many children will think of water. Of cool clay jars resting in shaded corners. Of the first sip after long labor. Water from the Nile is precious. Drawn carefully. Carried carefully. Stored carefully. A child may spend much of the morning helping carry it. Clay jars balanced on shoulders. Or supported against hips. The jars are heavy. The paths uneven. The sun unforgiving. But the reward comes later. A cup lifted to dry lips. Coolness sliding down the throat. A simple joy. As noon approaches, meals grow quieter. The heat presses heavily on the village. Children seek shade wherever they can find it. Walls. Trees. Boats turned upside down. A midday meal appears. Bread again. Lentils. Perhaps a cucumber sliced into thick pieces. Perhaps onions. Perhaps beans mashed with herbs. Children sit close together. Dusty knees touching. Hands moving slowly. No energy for play. Only eating. Only resting. Only waiting for the heat to pass. The village itself seems sleepy. Dogs lie still in narrow shadows. Even birds grow quiet. Only the buzzing of insects remains. And somewhere, inside a cool home, a mother prepares the evening grain. Already thinking ahead. Already beginning tomorrow's bread. Children notice these rhythms. They may not speak of them, but they understand. Food is never only for now. It is always also for later. For tomorrow. For the next sunrise. For the next hungry child. As afternoon softens and shadows begin to return, children stir again. Energy comes back slowly. The air becomes easier to breathe. Work resumes. And thoughts of supper begin to grow. What will there be tonight? More lentils. Fish. Fresh figs. A little cheese. Or simply bread and onions once more. Whatever it is, it will be welcomed. As the sun lowers, smoke rises from ovens again. The smell of baking drifts across the village. Children return home. Feet sore. Faces warm. Hands dusty. And soon, they gather once more inside familiar walls. The same clay bowls. The same woven mats. The same soft firelight. A mother tears bread. A father shares roasted fish. A little girl carefully peels an onion. A boy reaches for the final fig. They eat together. Slowly. Quietly. Outside, the Nile grows dark again. Its waters moving beneath the stars. The village begins to settle. The children lean against their parents. Sleep already tugging at their eyes. Their stomachs warm. Their bodies tired. Their world small. Safe. Steady. And as the last bites disappear, as the lamps burn lower, and as the warm desert wind brushes gently against the mud-brick walls, the children prepare once more for sleep. Tomorrow will taste much the same. Bread. Grain. Onions. Water. Dates, if they are lucky. Fish, if the river is kind. And somehow, in that quiet repetition, there is peace. There is comfort. There is home. And the Nile continues to flow beside them, endless and calm, carrying the ancient night softly forward. The ancient night drifts quietly onward. The lamps inside the mud-brick homes have burned low. Only the faintest glow remains, trembling softly in small clay bowls of oil. Outside, the village has become still. The day's dust has settled. The pathways between homes are empty now. The sandals have been set aside. The tools are resting. The ovens, once glowing with heat, now cool slowly in the dark. And beyond everything, just past the last row of homes and palm trees, the Nile moves in its steady silence. Its waters never truly sleep. They slide past the reeds and riverbanks. They carry moonlight in gentle ripples. They breathe life into every field, every garden, every basket of grain. And because of the Nile, children sleep tonight with food in their bellies. Not much, but enough. Inside one home, a small boy stirs. His blanket has slipped away. The air feels cooler against his skin. He turns slowly, pressing his cheek against a woven mat that still holds a little warmth from the day. Beside him, his younger sister breathes softly. Her hands are curled near her face. A strand of dark hair rests across her forehead. Their mother sleeps nearby. Her hands, rough from grinding grain and kneading dough, are finally still. Her body is tired. Deeply tired. But even in sleep, she seems ready to wake. Ready to begin again. Tomorrow's bread is already waiting. Near the far wall, covered carefully with cloth, dough rests in a clay bowl. It rises quietly in the darkness. Slowly. Patiently. As if it, too, is sleeping. Children in ancient Egypt often fell asleep with the smell of grain still lingering in the air. It settled into everything. Into their hair. Into their clothes. Into the blankets spread across the floor. Flour dust lived in the corners of their homes. Tiny traces of bread were everywhere. Food was not something distant. It surrounded them. It shaped their days. And even in dreams, it may have stayed close. Perhaps a little girl dreams of figs. She sees them hanging low from a tree branch, heavy and ripe. She reaches for them. The soft skin gives beneath her fingers. Sweetness waits inside. Perhaps a boy dreams of fresh fish. Silver scales shining in the morning sun. His father lifting them carefully from the net. The cool touch of river water on his hands. Or perhaps a younger child dreams only of warm bread. Fresh from the oven. Steam rising into the air. A loaf so soft and warm it fills the whole room with comfort. Even dreams are simple here. And peaceful. The night deepens. The stars turn slowly above the Nile. Hours pass. And then, quietly, the first changes begin. A soft breeze enters through an open doorway. It carries the smell of damp earth. The smell of river reeds. The smell of the coming morning. Soon, somewhere in the village, a rooster stirs. A donkey shifts its weight. A bird makes a single quiet call. Dawn is approaching. It begins, as always, in darkness. Before the sky changes. Before light touches the fields. A mother wakes. She sits slowly. For a moment, she remains still. Listening. The breathing of her children. The quiet of the room. The faint crackle of old ash in the cooling oven. Then she rises. Her feet touch the cool stone floor. She wraps cloth around her shoulders. She kneels beside the fire. Careful hands gather dried reeds. Twigs. Bits of palm fiber. She arranges them gently. A spark catches. A tiny flame appears. Orange and soft. Soon, warmth begins to spread. The room shifts. From night. Toward morning. One child opens sleepy eyes. Only halfway. The first thing they notice is the smell. Smoke. Warmth. And dough. Always dough. The promise of bread. The child sits quietly. Still wrapped in sleep. Watching the mother shape the first loaves. Her hands know every movement. Press. Fold. Turn. Flatten. Place. Each loaf is slightly different. No perfect circles. No exact measurements. Only practiced care. The child watches in silence. This has happened every morning. And still, it feels comforting. Outside, the horizon begins to pale. Soft gray. Then silver. Soon, pale gold. The village wakes slowly. Another child steps outside carrying a clay cup. They walk toward the water jar. The surface inside is cool. Tiny drops of moisture cling to the clay. The child pours carefully. The water shines in the dim light. The first sip is always wonderful. Cool. Fresh. Quietly satisfying. Water before bread. Water before work. Water from the Nile. The same river that waters the fields. The same river that feeds the fish. The same river that shapes every meal. Soon, breakfast is ready. Today, it is bread and beans. The beans have been cooked until soft. Mashed gently with herbs. A little onion mixed in. Their scent is warm and earthy. The bread is torn into pieces. Still steaming. The children gather close. Cross-legged on the floor. A shared bowl between them. Hands reaching slowly. No rushing. No waste. Every crumb matters. A small child dips bread into the warm beans. Too deeply. The bread begins to fall apart. The child laughs softly. A parent smiles. Even small moments like this bring warmth to the room. The meal is quiet. Chewing. Swallowing. The gentle sounds of morning. Outside, sandals begin to scrape against stone. Neighbors greet one another. A goat calls out from a nearby courtyard. Smoke rises from many rooftops now. The village is alive. But still calm. Still slow. After breakfast, the children prepare for the day. One ties a simple cloth around their waist. Another helps a younger sibling wash sleepy hands. One child carries a small basket. Inside are onions and flat bread wrapped in linen. Lunch for later. Another carries dried figs. Their family will eat them when the sun is highest. As they step outside, the warmth of the new day is already growing. The streets are narrow. Dust gathers around their ankles. Palm shadows sway across mud walls. And everywhere, children move. Some toward the fields. Some toward the river. Some toward workshops. A little girl walks beside her grandmother. They carry herbs gathered from a small garden. Mint. Coriander. Leeks. The scents mix in the morning air. These herbs will flavor lentils tonight. Even small flavors matter. Even the smallest leaf can change a meal. Another boy joins his father near the fishing boats. The nets are damp. Heavy. The river shines beneath the growing sun. The boy helps untangle cords. His hands smell of rope and water. Later, if the catch is good, there may be fish for supper. He hopes for this. Fish means variety. Fish means something different. Children notice such things. They remember the taste. They remember the smell of fish roasting over fire. The crisp skin. The tender meat. The careful work of removing bones. These small changes make ordinary days feel special. By midday, hunger will return. It always does. The body asks again. Quietly. Steadily. Children will sit beneath trees or beside shaded walls. They will unwrap their cloth bundles. Bread again. Perhaps softer now from the warmth. Perhaps a little dry. There may be onion. There may be lentils. There may be a date. A sweet reward saved carefully. A child may eat the date last. Holding it for a while. Feeling its soft weight. Knowing sweetness is rare. Wanting to make it last. The afternoon will pass slowly. Heat pressing against the earth. Dust rising from busy feet. Children growing tired again. And then, evening will return. The light will soften. The river will cool. Smoke will rise once more from clay ovens. And once again, children will gather inside their homes. For bread. For lentils. For fish, perhaps. For figs, perhaps. For simple food prepared by patient hands. And later, when the stars return and the Nile darkens beneath the moon, they will sleep once more. Their lives measured in meals. Their memories shaped by taste and smell. Warm bread. Sharp onion. Sweet date. Cool water. Soft lentils. River fish. Each one small. Each one ordinary. Each one deeply precious. And as the quiet ancient village settles beneath the night sky, the Nile continues its endless journey. Flowing softly beside the sleeping children. Carrying tomorrow's water. Tomorrow's grain. Tomorrow's bread. Always forward. Always calm. The Nile moves through the darkness as it always has. Softly. Without hurry. Its quiet waters brush against reeds and worn wooden boats, carrying the cool breath of night across the sleeping village. The stars above are clear. Scattered like tiny points of light across a deep and endless sky. The mudbrick homes sit quietly beneath them. Their flat roofs still warm from the day before. Their walls holding traces of smoke and grain and the comforting scent of bread. Inside these homes, children sleep close to one another. Some wrapped in thin linen. Some curled against their mothers. Some stretched out beside the oven walls, where a little warmth still lingers in the stone. Their breathing is slow. Their hands are still. Their stomachs rest after another simple meal. Bread. Beans. Onions. A few sweet dates, if they were fortunate. And now, the peaceful heaviness of sleep. For these children, food and rest are deeply connected. A day feels complete only when both have come. And so the village sleeps. The night stretches on. Until, as always, the world begins to stir. Not all at once. Never suddenly. But gently. A breeze enters through an open doorway. It lifts the edge of a hanging cloth. It cools a sleeping child's cheek. Outside, the reeds along the Nile whisper softly together. A bird calls from somewhere near the riverbank. The sound is small. But it marks the beginning. Another day is approaching. Inside one home, a young girl wakes first. She is perhaps 8 years old. Old enough to help her mother. Old enough to carry small jars. Old enough to know the comfort of routine. She opens her eyes slowly. The room is still dim. The outlines of baskets and clay jars appear as quiet shadows. For a moment, she remains still. Listening. Her father breathes deeply nearby. Her younger brother murmurs in sleep. Her mother is already awake. Of course she is. The girl can hear the familiar sound. Stone against stone. The grinding has begun. That slow scraping rhythm. A sound as old as the river itself. The mother kneels in the corner beside the grinding stone. Her hands move steadily. Grain pours forward. The upper stone presses and turns. Fine flour gathers beneath. This is the beginning of every meal. Without this work, there is no bread. Without bread, there is no comfort. The girl rises quietly and joins her. She kneels beside the stone. Her small hands help gather spilled flour. She smooths it into a clay bowl. A pale dust settles across her fingers. Across her arms. Soon, it will cling to her hair and face. Flour becomes part of the skin here. Part of daily life. The room smells faintly sweet. Dry grain. Warm ash. Clay walls still holding yesterday's heat. Nearby, dough from the night before waits beneath a linen cloth. The mother touches it gently. Presses one finger into its surface. It gives softly. Ready. Together, they begin shaping the loaves. The girl watches carefully. Her hands imitate each movement. Press. Turn. Fold. Flatten. Not perfectly, but better than before. She is learning. And one day, she will make bread for her own children. This knowledge passes quietly. From hand to hand. From mother to daughter. Through flour and fire. The little brother wakes now. He sits up, rubbing his eyes. His hair is wild from sleep. He smells the bread before he fully understands that he is awake. That scent reaches him like a soft promise. Warm. Toasty. Comforting. He smiles. A sleepy little smile. And crawls toward the oven. The fire has just been fed. Its orange light flickers against the walls. The room glows softly. Soon, the first loaf enters the heat. And the waiting begins. Outside, dawn gathers slowly over the Nile. The water reflects pale silver. Mist rises gently from its surface. Fishermen are already awake. Their boats slide quietly from shore. Wood creaks. Oars dip into water. Small waves spread outward in soft circles. A boy stands beside his father in one of the boats. His hands are cold from touching wet rope. His feet balance carefully on damp wood. He looks back toward the village. Thin smoke is beginning to rise from the rooftops. Families are waking. Bread is baking. And he knows what waits when he returns. If the fishing is good, perhaps their morning meal will include something special. A small roasted fish. Tiny and crisp. Its skin salted. Its flesh tender and warm. Not every day brings fish. But when it does, children remember. Back in the village, the first bread is ready. The mother removes it from the oven. Steam rises in quiet waves. The crust crackles softly as it cools. The little boy reaches eagerly. Too eagerly. The loaf is still too hot. He pulls back quickly. The girl laughs softly. Their mother smiles. Patience. Even for bread. Especially for bread. Soon, pieces are torn and shared. The children sit close together on the floor. Their breakfast today is simple. Fresh bread. A small bowl of mashed lentils. A few slices of cucumber. The cucumber is cool. Its fresh scent cuts through the warmth of the room. Its crisp bite feels refreshing. The lentils are soft. Earthy. Seasoned with onion and a few crushed herbs. The bread dips easily into them. The little boy scoops too much. The lentils slide back into the bowl. Again, quiet laughter. These tiny moments brighten the morning. Food is never only nourishment. It is closeness. It is routine. It is family. The father returns from the river. Not yet with fish. Only checking the nets. He joins them. His hands still damp. His skin cool from the river breeze. He tears bread and eats in silence. The family sits together. No one rushes. The day has not fully begun. For a little while, they simply eat. Outside, more children appear in the streets. Some carry baskets. Some carry tools. Some carry younger siblings on their hips. The village wakes in layers. Doors open. Voices drift across narrow paths. Goats wander freely. Palm trees sway. Dust rises under small bare feet. And everywhere, children move toward their daily work. One little boy helps his mother at the market. He carries onions in a woven basket. Their dry skins rustle softly with every step. Their scent is sharp, strong. It clings to his hands, to his clothes. He does not mind. Onions are valuable. They flavor meals. They keep well. They fill empty spaces on a plate. Another girl helps collect figs from a nearby tree. She reaches carefully for the ripest ones. Their soft skin presses gently beneath her fingertips. Some are warm already from the early sun. One splits open slightly. Sweetness glistens inside. She cannot resist. She takes a bite. The taste is rich and soft. Tiny seeds crunch between her teeth. A brief gift. A quiet delight. By midday, hunger returns. It always returns. Children gather in shaded places. Beneath date palms. Beside stone walls. Near the river's edge. Lunch is modest. Bread once more. Wrapped in linen cloth. Still good. Still comforting. A few olives. A bit of cheese, perhaps. Soft goat cheese. Salty and cool. A treasured addition. One child saves the cheese for the final bite. Wanting the meal to end with richness. Wanting the taste to linger. Nearby, another child drinks from a clay cup. Water. Cool and smooth. Drawn from the Nile. Poured carefully. Every sip matters. Afternoon stretches slowly. The sun grows fierce. The earth shimmers. Children grow quiet. Their movements slow. Work continues, but gently. Patiently. A little girl rests beside a wall, her head against a basket of grain. She closes her eyes for a moment. The smell of wheat surrounds her. Warm and dusty. It reminds her of home. Of ovens. Of breakfast. Of evening meals yet to come. And already, somewhere in the village, a mother is preparing for supper. Sorting lentils. Washing vegetables. Kneading more dough. Always preparing. Always thinking ahead. As the sun lowers, shadows lengthen once again. The air softens. Children begin walking home. Their feet are tired. Their stomachs emptying again. They know what awaits. The comfort of familiar food. The warmth of shared bowls. The quiet voices of family. Tonight, perhaps, there will be fish. Perhaps beans. Perhaps only bread and onions. Whatever it is, they will eat slowly. Together. And later, when darkness returns and the Nile whispers beside the sleeping village, they will drift once more into peaceful dreams. Dreams shaped by grain and river water. By warm ovens and soft figs. By cool cucumbers and sweet dates. By the quiet certainty that when morning comes, bread will be there again. Waiting. Before the sun rises, before even the birds begin their first soft calls, the village rests in a delicate stillness. The Nile is dark. Its surface, smooth and slow, reflects only the fading stars. The reeds along its edge bend gently in the night breeze, whispering to one another in quiet tones. Farther inland, where the narrow paths wind between mud-brick homes, everything is still. The ovens are cold. The tools are stacked. The baskets are covered. And inside the homes, children sleep deeply. Their small hands are relaxed. Their breathing is even. Some have traces of flour still clinging to their cheeks. Some smell faintly of smoke. Some still hold the sweetness of fig on their lips, remembered from the evening meal. The air inside these homes is warm and close. The thick mud walls have held onto the day's heat. The woven mats beneath the children are firm but familiar. A blanket has slipped from one child's shoulders. A mother, half awake, reaches gently to pull it back into place. Even in sleep, care continues. Then, slowly, the first sound of morning begins. Not outside. Inside. A quiet movement. A mother rising. A foot placed softly on cool stone. The gentle rustle of linen. She does not speak. There is no need. Her body already knows the path. To the clay jars. To the basket of grain. To the grinding stone. She kneels. Places grain into the shallow hollow. Sets both hands on the upper stone. And begins. Stone against stone. A slow, steady scraping. Again. And again. And again. It is a humble sound. A tired sound. But also a comforting one. For the children, this sound means warmth will soon return. It means food. It means the familiar beginning of another day. One by one, the children wake. Not suddenly. They drift upward from sleep, drawn gently by the sound and smell of morning. A young boy opens his eyes. For a moment, he does not move. He listens. The grinding stone. The soft crackle of reeds catching fire in the oven. The distant murmur of another household beginning the same work. He turns his face toward the faint orange glow spreading across the room. The fire is waking. The day is waking. And so is his hunger. He rises quietly and sits beside the oven. The warmth touches his knees. His hands reach toward it instinctively. The chill of night is fading. Soon, the whole room will smell of baking bread. His sister joins him. She wraps her arms around her legs. Her hair is loose from sleep. She watches their mother pour water into the flour. The mixture changes slowly. Dry grain becoming soft dough. Hands folding. Pressing. Turning. A little flour dust floats in the air, catching the firelight. The children watch every movement. They have seen it all before. Many times. And yet, it never feels ordinary. There is something comforting in watching food come to life. The mother pinches off a small piece of dough. She hands it to her daughter. The girl smiles. Her own little loaf. She presses it flat with her fingers. Too thick in one place. Too thin in another. Imperfect. But made with care. The mother places it beside the others. It will bake just the same. Outside, the first pale light appears. The horizon beyond the Nile glows softly. The river begins to reflect silver and gold. Birds stir among the palms. A fisherman unties his boat. The rope slips through his hands. The wood creaks quietly. A child helps him. Barefoot on the damp riverbank. The mud is cool between the child's toes. The air smells of water and reeds. Fresh. Clean. Different from the warm smell of bread rising behind them in the village. The child glances back toward home. Soon, there will be breakfast. But first, a little work. Even small hands are useful here. The nets must be checked. The boat must be steadied. The river must be greeted. Back in the home, the first loaf is ready. The mother lifts it carefully from the oven. The crust is dark and firm. Steam escapes in soft waves. The children lean forward. The smell fills the room. Warm. Earthy. Nutty. A smell they have known all their lives. The mother tears the loaf. One piece for each child. A larger piece for the father. A smaller one for herself. She always serves herself last. Today, there is also onion. A fresh one, peeled carefully. Its pale layers shine in the morning light. The boy takes a bite. The sharpness makes his eyes blink. Then comes sweetness. A familiar balance. The girl dips her bread into a small bowl of mashed beans. The beans are soft and warm. Their flavor is simple. A little salt. A little garlic. Enough. Breakfast is quiet. The children chew slowly. They do not speak much. Morning meals are often like this. Still touched by sleep. Still wrapped in calm. Outside, the village grows louder. Sandals on stone. Voices calling softly. A goat bleats. A pot is moved. Water splashes into a clay basin. Another child runs past the doorway, carrying a basket of dates. The sweet smell follows behind. Dates are precious. Not rare, but always welcomed. A special softness in a world of rough bread and dusty roads. The little girl sees them and smiles. Perhaps today there will be one for her. After breakfast, the children prepare for the day. The boy will help his father in the fields. The girl will stay with her mother. There is grain to sort. Water to carry. A younger sibling to watch. She does not mind. She likes being near the oven. Near the smell of dough. Near the quiet rhythm of the home. As the sun rises higher, the fields begin to glow. The barley bends in the breeze. Golden heads brushing against one another. The boy walks beside his father. A cloth bundle hangs from his shoulder. Inside is bread for later. A little onion. 2 dried figs. His midday meal. He knows exactly what is inside without looking. And yet, somehow, it is comforting to know it is there. Waiting. The work begins. Pulling weeds. Carrying bundles. Chasing birds away from the grain. The sun climbs. The warmth grows heavy. Sweat gathers on his brow. Dust clings to his ankles. By midday, hunger returns. They sit beneath the shade of a palm. His father unwraps the cloth. The bread is dry now. But still good. The figs are soft. Their sweetness bright against the heat. The onion is crisp. It smells strong in the still air. The boy drinks from a clay cup. The water is warm now. But refreshing all the same. Each bite is slow. Measured. The meal is not large. But it gives strength. Nearby, in the village, the girl sits in the shade beside her mother. They have been sorting lentils. Tiny brown seeds slipping through careful fingers. Some are kept. Some are removed. The work is slow. Quiet. She has learned patience. Her lunch is much the same. Bread. Beans. A small slice of cucumber. Its coolness feels wonderful. She eats slowly, listening to the soft hum of village life. A potter shaping clay nearby. A baby crying. A donkey shifting its load. The distant sound of laughter. These sounds are ordinary. Comforting. they belong to her world. The afternoon passes as it always does. Slowly. Warmly. With effort. With dust. With waiting. And then, at last, the light begins to soften. The heat loosens its grip. Children begin to return home. The boy from the fields. The girl from the courtyard. The fisherman's child from the river. All moving back toward the same places. Toward familiar walls. Toward clay ovens glowing once more. Toward evening meals. Tonight, the family shares lentil stew. Thick and warm. Bread for dipping. A few olives. And yes, a single date for each child. The little girl holds hers carefully. She waits until the very end. She wants sweetness to be the final taste of the day. The little boy eats his first. Too quickly. Then wishes he had waited. The parents smile. The lamp burns softly. The room glows. Outside, the Nile darkens. Its surface reflects the first stars. The children finish their meal. Their eyes grow heavy. Their bodies ache with the quiet work of the day. Soon, the mats are spread. The blankets arranged. The fire begins to fade. And as they settle into sleep once more, they carry with them the comfort of familiar food. Warm bread. Soft beans. Sweet dates. Cool cucumber. Sharp onion. Simple things. Precious things. And beyond the mud-brick walls, the Nile continues its endless journey. Flowing gently beside them. Keeping watch through the night. The Nile moves quietly beneath the stars. Its waters are dark now, almost black, yet still alive with motion. Small ripples carry fragments of moonlight across the surface. The reeds along the banks lean inward, swaying softly, whispering with each passing breath of wind. Somewhere far across the water, a bird calls once, then falls silent. The village listens. The village rests. The homes, built from earth and sun and patient hands, sit close together beneath the white Egyptian sky. Their flat roofs hold the fading warmth of the day. Their thick walls shelter families from the night air. And inside, on woven mats laid carefully across cool stone floors, the children sleep. One child lies curled beside a clay jar of water. Another sleeps near the oven wall, where the last hidden warmth still lingers. A small hand rests open across a folded linen cloth. A cheek presses softly against a rolled blanket. Their faces are peaceful. Their breathing slow and even. The day has left them tired. The food has left them comforted. And now sleep has taken them fully. The smell of the evening meal still hangs faintly in the room. Bread. Lentils. A trace of onion. A memory of dates. The scents remain even as dreams begin. In sleep, perhaps a child returns to the fig tree. The branches heavy and low. The fruit soft and sun-warmed. Tiny hands reaching upward. Sweet juice on the tongue. Or perhaps another child dreams of the Nile itself. Of cool water against warm feet. Of watching silver fish flash beneath the surface. Of carrying home something special for supper. These dreams are quiet. Simple. Made from the ordinary pieces of life. Outside, the stars turn slowly overhead. Hours pass without sound. The village belongs to the night. Then, little by little, something changes. The air shifts. The darkness softens. The moon sinks lower. A pale gray begins to gather far beyond the eastern edge of the river. Morning is approaching. But not yet. Not quite. There is still time for one more moment of stillness. One more breath of cool air. One more quiet pause before the day begins again. Inside one home, a mother wakes. She does not move at first. She lies still, listening. Her children breathe nearby. The room is calm. The world outside remains hushed. Then she rises. Slowly. Carefully. Her feet find the stone floor. It is cool beneath her soles. She wraps a light cloth over her shoulders. And in silence, she begins the first work of the day. She kneels beside the grain basket. Her fingers slip beneath the woven cover. She gathers what remains. Barley. A little wheat. Enough for bread. Enough for another day. She pours the grain beside the grinding stone. And begins. The familiar sound returns. Stone against stone. A steady rhythm. Push. Pull. Push. Pull. Grain becoming flour. Effort becoming nourishment. The first quiet labor before sunrise. One child stirs. Not fully awake. Only half aware. But the sound reaches through sleep. It always does. It is a sound woven into memory. Into comfort. Into the feeling of home. The child opens tired eyes. The room is dark except for a small flame now rising near the oven. The mother has lit the fire. Tiny sparks glow. Dry reeds crackle. Warmth begins to spread. The child does not rise immediately. Instead, they lie still. Watching the orange light dance across the ceiling. Listening to the slow sounds of preparation. This is one of the calmest moments of the day. Before footsteps. Before work. Before heat. Before hunger fully awakens. Soon, another child sits up. Then another. Blankets are folded. Hair is brushed back with sleepy hands. Small feet touch the floor. The family gathers slowly near the warmth. The dough has already been mixed. Water and flour joined by practiced hands. Now it is shaped. Round loaves. Flat loaves. Small loaves for children. Larger ones for adults. One little boy is given a small piece of dough. He smiles. His fingers press into it. Too hard. Too deep. The dough sticks to his hands. His mother gently helps him. Together they shape it. A tiny loaf. Crooked. Uneven. Perfect. It joins the others near the oven. The child watches proudly. Outside, dawn begins to touch the Nile. A silver glow stretches across the water. Mist lifts slowly from its surface. The reeds shine with droplets. The air smells fresh. Cool. Wet. Near the riverbank, fishermen prepare their nets. A child joins them. Still chewing a piece of yesterday's bread. Hard and dry. But familiar. Comforting. The child dips the bread into a small cup of water to soften it. Then eats while watching the boats. Wood against water. Rope through hands. The quiet sounds of another day beginning. Back inside the home, breakfast is ready. Fresh bread. Still warm. The crust breaks with a soft crackle. Steam escapes. Hands reach. Pieces are shared. Today, there is also soft cheese. Goat cheese. White and crumbly. A little salty. A little tangy. A rare treat. Each child receives only a small amount. Enough to spread across bread with careful fingers. Enough to make the morning feel special. One child eats slowly, trying to make the flavor last. Another takes a bite too quickly, then closes their eyes, savoring. Nearby, a bowl of mashed lentils waits. Thick, warm, seasoned with crushed herbs. A child tears bread and dips it carefully. The bread softens, absorbs the warmth, becomes even more filling. The first meal settles gently into small, hungry bodies. Outside, the village is waking. Doors open. Voices drift. Clay jars are lifted. Water splashes. Goats wander between homes. Palm trees move softly in the early breeze. Children step into the light. Some carry baskets. Some carry tools. Some simply walk beside their parents. Their stomachs are warm now, their strength returning. The day awaits. A little girl follows her grandmother toward a small garden. They will gather onions, leeks, fresh herbs. The earth is still cool, damp beneath their feet. The girl kneels beside the onions, pulls gently. The roots release with a soft sound. The smell rises immediately. Sharp, clean, powerful. She smiles. She knows this smell. It means flavor. It means tonight's meal will be better. Nearby, another child helps gather figs. The fruit hangs low and heavy. Purple skin warmed by the first sunlight. The child chooses carefully. Only the softest. Only the ripest. One is split open and shared. Sweetness glistens in the morning air. A quiet delight. A gift from the tree. By midday, the heat returns. As it always does. Slowly at first. Then fully. The village quiets. Children seek shade. Under palms. Beside walls. Near the river. Lunch is simple. Bread. Onion. A few olives. Perhaps a cucumber. Perhaps a fig saved from morning. A child drinks from a clay cup. The water is cool. Cool enough to feel like relief. Cool enough to slow the heat inside the body. The afternoon passes. Dust rises. Sandals scrape. Hands work. And then, eventually, the light begins to soften again. The village exhales. Children walk home. Tired. Hungry. Ready. The ovens glow once more. The smell of baking returns. As comforting as ever. Tonight, the meal is modest. Bread. Lentils. A few roasted vegetables. One date each. Enough. Always enough. The family gathers close. The lamp burns softly. The children eat slowly. Their eyelids begin to grow heavy. The room is warm. Safe. Outside, the Nile darkens. The stars return. And as the final bites disappear, and the last whispers fade into silence, the children settle once more onto their woven mats. Their stomachs warm. Their hands still carrying the faint scent of bread and figs. Their dreams already beginning. And the Nile, endless and patient, continues to flow beside them through the ancient night. The ancient night settles gently over the village once more. The lamps have been dimmed. The last small flames inside the clay ovens have softened into glowing red embers. Their quiet warmth lingers in the walls, in the floor, in the blankets folded beside sleeping children. Outside, the Nile moves without sound. Its waters slide through the darkness, smooth and certain, reflecting the pale light of the moon. The reeds at the river's edge sway softly. palm leaves whisper overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls once, then disappears back into silence. The village listens. And sleeps. Inside the mud-brick homes, children rest deeply. Their long day has left its gentle weight upon them. Dust still clings to their ankles. A faint trace of flour remains beneath small fingernails. The scent of smoke lingers in their hair. The sweetness of a date, eaten slowly before bed, still seems to rest at the edge of memory. One little boy shifts beneath a linen covering. His arm reaches outward. His hand brushes the cool stone floor. Even in sleep, the familiar textures of his world remain close. The woven mat beneath him. The rough wall nearby. The soft fabric of a folded blanket. And beside him, near the doorway, a clay basket sits quietly. Inside are figs. A few onions. And grain for tomorrow's bread. Food resting. Waiting. The night moves slowly here. No clocks. No bells. Only the quiet turning of stars above the Nile. Only the breath of sleeping families. Only the patient passing of hours. And then, little by little, the darkness begins to change. The air grows cooler just before dawn. The breeze that enters through the doorway feels fresh against warm skin. A mother stirs. Her eyes open. She listens. The room is peaceful. Her children sleep nearby. Their breathing rises and falls in gentle rhythm. For a moment, she remains still. A quiet pause. A final breath of night. Then she rises. Her feet touch the stone. Cool. Smooth. She wraps linen around her shoulders and moves softly toward the corner of the room. There waits the grinding stone. There waits the grain. There waits the first work of another day. She kneels. Pours the grain. Places her hands on the heavy stone. And begins. Stone against stone. A slow scraping sound. Steady. Rhythmic. Familiar. It moves through the room like a gentle song. A song every child here has heard since birth. The sound of breakfast beginning. The sound of hunger being answered. The sound of care. Soon, another sound joins it. The crackle of dried reeds catching flame. The clay oven wakes. A soft orange light grows against the wall. Smoke rises in a thin ribbon toward the ceiling. The room begins to warm. A little girl opens her eyes. She blinks slowly. The glow of the fire reaches her first. Then the smell. Warm ash. Fresh flour. Damp dough. She smiles without thinking. Her body knows what it means. Bread. She sits up. Pulls her blanket aside. And moves quietly toward the oven. Her younger brother still sleeps, curled tightly on his mat. His hair falls across his forehead. One hand is tucked beneath his cheek. The little girl watches her mother knead the dough. Fold. Press. Turn. Again. Again. Hands moving without hesitation. Without waste. Each motion practiced through years of repetition. The dough becomes smooth. Soft. Ready. The mother pinches off a small piece and places it into her daughter's hands. Warm and cool at once. Sticky. Soft. The child presses her fingers into it. Carefully this time. She has done this before. Her own little loaf begins to take shape. Not perfect. But round enough. Flat enough. Good enough. It will bake beside the others. Outside, the horizon is changing. A pale line of silver appears beyond the Nile. The river reflects it immediately. The first birds begin to call. A fisherman unties his boat. The wood shifts softly against the shore. A child stands nearby, barefoot in the cool mud, holding a basket. Inside are 2 small onions and yesterday's bread. Breakfast for later. The child watches the boat drift away. The air smells of river water and damp reeds. The breeze touches the skin gently. There is peace here. The kind of peace that comes before labor. Before sunlight grows harsh. Before the village fills with footsteps and voices. Back inside, the first loaf is ready. The mother lifts it from the oven. Its crust is golden brown. Its surface cracked in tiny lines. Steam rises. The little girl reaches out instinctively. Too quickly. Her mother smiles and shakes her head. Not yet. The bread must cool. Even for a moment. Patience. Always patience. Soon, the loaf is torn. Pieces are passed from hand to hand. The younger brother has awakened now. His eyes still heavy. He takes his bread with both hands. Warmth spreads through his fingers. Today, breakfast includes lentils. Soft and thick. Cooked the night before. Warmed again this morning. The little girl dips her bread into the bowl. The lentils cling to the rough surface. She takes a bite. Earthy. Comforting. A little onion follows. Sharp. Crisp. Its taste wakes her fully. Her brother eats more slowly. Watching the flame. Watching dust float through the morning light. Watching the day arrive. Outside, the village begins to stir. Doors open. Water jars are lifted. Sandals brush against stone. A goat wanders between homes. Palm shadows stretch long across the ground. Children step into the dusty lanes. Some carry baskets. Some carry tools. Some simply walk beside their parents. Their morning meal warms their stomachs. Gives strength to small arms and tired legs. A little boy walks with his father toward the fields. He carries a linen bundle. Inside is bread. A few olives. And a fig wrapped carefully in cloth. His midday meal. He feels comfort just knowing it is there. The path is dusty. The air grows warmer with each step. The fields ahead shimmer softly in early sunlight. Golden grain sways in the breeze. The smell of earth rises from the damp ground. The boy bends to touch it. Cool mud against his fingertips. Soon, work begins. Pulling weeds. Gathering fallen stalks. Carrying bundles. Small tasks. Steady tasks. The sun climbs. The heat deepens. And hunger returns, as it always does. By midday, the little girl rests in the shade of a wall. Beside her sits her mother. Between them is a shared meal. Bread again. Of course. Always bread. And cucumber. Cool slices, pale and crisp. The little girl bites into one. Water spills across her tongue. A simple pleasure. Nearby, another child eats dates. Soft. Sticky. Sweet. Slowly. Making each bite last. The afternoon moves gently. Dust rises. Voices soften. The village slows beneath the weight of heat. Children rest when they can. Work when they must. And think quietly of evening. Of home. Of supper. As the sun begins to lower, shadows return. The air becomes kind again. Children walk back through narrow paths. Their feet are dusty. Their shoulders tired. Their stomachs emptying once more. And soon, the familiar smell greets them. Bread baking. Again. Always. The ovens glow. The homes warm. Families gather. Tonight, there is fish. A small fish. Shared carefully. Roasted until the skin is crisp. The children eat slowly. Pulling tiny bones away with careful fingers. Bread beside it. Lentils beside that. A single fig to finish. Outside, the Nile darkens beneath the stars. Inside, the lamp burns low. The meal ends. The room grows quiet. Blankets are spread. Bodies settle. The little girl closes her eyes. Her hands still smell faintly of bread and cucumber. Her brother curls near the cooling oven wall. Their parents whisper softly nearby. And as sleep returns, gentle and certain, the Nile continues its endless journey through the ancient night. Flowing softly. Watching quietly. Carrying tomorrow's water. Tomorrow's grain. Tomorrow's bread. The village is quiet again. The final whispers inside the homes have faded. The last glowing embers in the clay ovens have dimmed to a soft red pulse. The air is cooler now, touched by the gentle breath of the Nile. Outside, the river slips through the darkness, patient and steady. Its surface carries scattered moonlight like tiny pieces of silver. The reeds bow softly at its edge. Palm branches stir overhead. And beneath this vast, quiet sky, the children of ancient Egypt sleep. Their day has been long. Their bodies are tired. Their stomachs are calm. Bread has done its quiet work. Lentils have settled warmly. A little fish, a sweet fig, a cool sip of water from a clay cup. These small things have carried them safely into the night. Inside one mudbrick home, a young child shifts gently in sleep. One arm stretches toward the nearby wall. Small fingers brush the rough surface. The texture is familiar. So familiar that even in dreams, it feels comforting. The walls of these homes are never smooth. They hold the marks of hands. Of repairs. Of seasons. Of years. Children grow up touching these walls. Leaning against them while they eat. Sleeping beside them. Watching candlelight dance across them while bread bakes nearby. These simple rooms hold almost everything they know. A woven mat. A clay water jar. A basket of grain. A folded cloth. A small lamp. And somewhere close, always, the scent of food. Tonight, the smell of roasted fish still lingers in the air. It mingles with warm ash. With dry grain. With the faint sweetness of figs resting in a covered basket. A little girl sleeps near that basket. Her breathing is slow. Her hair falls across her face. One hand is still curled loosely, as if holding something. Perhaps in her dream, she is still holding her evening fig. Still tasting its soft sweetness. Still savoring the quiet joy of its final bite. Dreams here are gentle. They do not wander far. They return to familiar things. To the river. To the fields. To the cool shade of palm trees. To the warmth of ovens. To bread, torn and shared by hand. The night moves onward. The stars turn slowly above the Nile. Hours pass in silence. And then, as always, the first change comes not in sight, but in feeling. The air shifts. A little cooler. A little lighter. The deep darkness begins to soften. Dawn is still hidden. But it is coming. A mother wakes. She opens her eyes without sound. She knows the hour without needing to see the sky. Her body has learned this rhythm. The quiet waking. The first breath. The moment before movement. She listens. Her children sleep nearby. One child murmurs softly in a dream. Another turns and settles again. The room is peaceful. She rises. Her feet find the cool stone. She wraps a cloth over her shoulders. And begins the day. She uncovers the grain basket. Inside, barley waits. Enough for bread. Enough for comfort. Enough for strength. She pours a handful into the grinding stone. And places both hands on the heavy upper stone. The first sound of morning begins. Stone against stone. Slow. Steady. Scraping softly through the darkness. The sound fills the room. It is not loud. But it is certain. It reaches sleeping ears. It touches memory. It tells the children, even in sleep, that food is coming. That warmth is coming. That another day has begun. Soon, the oven is lit. Dry reeds catch flame. Tiny sparks rise. Orange light flickers against the walls. The room glows softly. A little boy opens his eyes. He does not sit up immediately. He watches the fire. He watches the shadows move. He hears the grinding stone. And he smells the first hint of flour in the air. He smiles. His hunger has not yet fully arrived. But it is near. He knows what comes next. Bread. Always bread. He rises quietly and joins his mother. She is kneading now. The dough folds beneath her hands. Press. Turn. Fold again. The little boy reaches out. His fingers press gently into the soft dough. It yields beneath his touch. Cool. Smooth. Sticky. He laughs softly. His mother smiles and pinches off a small piece for him. His own loaf. Small enough to hold in one hand. He shapes it carefully. A little too thick. A little uneven. But good enough. It will bake beside the others. His older sister wakes now. She moves toward the clay water jar. The outside of the jar is cool and damp. Tiny beads of moisture cling to its surface. She pours water into a small cup. The sound is soft. The water catches the firelight. She drinks. Slowly. The coolness fills her mouth. Her throat. Her whole waking body. It is one of the first comforts of the day. Outside, the sky begins to pale. A faint silver line appears above the Nile. Birds stir in the reeds. A fisherman pulls his boat toward the shore. A child walks beside him. Bare feet pressing into cool mud. A basket swinging gently from one hand. Inside the basket are onions. A small loaf from yesterday. And 2 dates wrapped carefully in cloth. Breakfast later. Or perhaps lunch. Dates are precious. Sweetness is often saved. Back inside the home, the bread begins to bake. The smell spreads quickly. Warm. Nutty. Deep and comforting. The little boy sits near the oven. His knees pulled close. His eyes fixed on the opening. Waiting. Patience is difficult when bread is near. His sister joins him. Together they watch the steam rise. At last, the bread is ready. Their mother tears the first loaf. Warm pieces are placed into waiting hands. Breakfast today is simple. Fresh bread. A small bowl of mashed beans. a few slices of cucumber, and one date, cut into pieces so it can be shared. The children eat slowly. The bread is soft inside. The crust still warm. The beans are thick. The cucumber cool. The tiny bite of date sweetens the end. No one speaks much. The meal itself is enough. Outside, the village is waking. Voices drift between the homes. Sandals scrape against dusty paths. Water jars are lifted. Palm leaves move in the breeze. A donkey brays somewhere beyond the fields. Children step into the day. Some head toward the river. Some toward the gardens. Some toward the fields of barley and wheat. Each carries something. A basket. A tool. A bundle of bread. A clay cup. A quiet sense of purpose. The little girl walks with her grandmother. They are gathering onions. The earth is still cool. She kneels. Pulls gently. The onions release from the soil. Their smell rises immediately. Sharp and clean. She smiles. Her hands will carry the scent all day. Another child gathers figs from a nearby tree, carefully choosing the softest ones. One splits in the hand. Sweet juice touches the fingertips. A quick taste. A small joy. The day stretches ahead. The sun climbs. The heat returns. And with it, hunger again. At midday, children rest in the shade. They unwrap their meals. Bread. Always bread. A little cheese today, perhaps. Soft goat cheese. Salty and rich. A treasure on rough bread. One child saves the cheese for the final bite, wanting the taste to last. Nearby, another drinks from a clay cup. Cool water. Drawn from the Nile. Still fresh. Still sweet in its own quiet way. The afternoon passes. Dust rises. Voices soften. The heat lingers. And slowly, the sun begins its descent. Children return home. Tired. Hungry. Ready. The ovens glow once more. The smell of bread welcomes them back. Tonight, perhaps lentils. Perhaps roasted onions. Perhaps fish, if the river has been kind. Whatever the meal, it will be shared. It will be enough. And when it is done, when the stars return and the Nile darkens once more, they will lie down on their woven mats. Their hands still scented with bread and onions. Their stomachs warm. Their eyes heavy. And the river will continue its endless song beside them, carrying tomorrow gently toward the shore. The Nile continues to move beneath the quiet sky. Its waters do not hurry. They never seem to hurry. They glide softly through the darkness, brushing past the riverbanks, slipping between clusters of reeds, carrying the cool breath of night toward the sleeping village. Above, the stars remain bright. Sharp points of light scattered across a vast black sky. They watch over the mudbrick homes. They shine upon the flat rooftops. They reflect faintly in the smooth sides of clay water jars left outside to cool. And inside those homes, children sleep. They sleep deeply now. Their long day has settled into their bones. Their hands are open. Their shoulders are loose. Their breathing rises and falls in slow, peaceful rhythm. A little boy sleeps beside the oven wall. The warmth from its fading stones still reaches him. A little girl lies nearby, her blanket pulled close. One hand rests beneath her cheek. The other still carries the faint smell of onion and flour. Their mother sleeps lightly. Their father more heavily. The room is quiet. only the faint crackle of cooling ash can be heard. And still, even in sleep, the scent of food remains. Bread. Always bread. Its warm, earthy fragrance seems to linger inside the walls themselves. Mixed with smoke. Mixed with dust. Mixed with the sweet memory of figs and dates. Food is part of the air here. Part of every room. Part of every dream. Perhaps the little girl dreams of a basket of fresh dates. Their skins dark and soft. Sticky beneath her fingers. Sweetness waiting inside. She chooses one carefully. Holds it up to the sun. Then tastes it slowly. Perhaps the little boy dreams of fishing. Standing beside the Nile. Watching his father lift silver fish from a net. Their scales flashing like tiny mirrors. The smell of water. The cool mud beneath his feet. The promise of roasted fish for supper. Dreams in this village are not filled with distant places. They stay close. Close to the river. Close to the fields. Close to the warm ovens and shaded courtyards. Close to the foods that shape each day. The hours pass. The stars shift. The air cools further. And then, very slowly, the darkness begins to change. The deepest black becomes softer. The horizon beyond the Nile lightens. A pale gray gathers where night begins to loosen its hold. Another day approaches. Inside one home, a mother wakes. Her eyes open gently. She lies still for a moment. Listening. A child murmurs in sleep. Another turns quietly beneath a blanket. Outside, somewhere in the distance, a bird calls. Once. Then silence again. The mother rises. Her feet touch the cool stone floor. She wraps linen around her shoulders. The room is dark, but her hands know where to go. To the grain basket. To the clay jar. To the grinding stone. She kneels. She pours. She begins. Stone against stone. That slow, familiar sound. The first sound of morning. The first promise of food. The sound travels through the room. It reaches sleeping ears. It settles into waking minds. Children begin to stir. A little boy opens his eyes. He watches his mother. He does not speak. He never speaks first thing in the morning. Not until bread has been eaten. Not until water has touched his lips. He sits quietly beside the clay water jar. Its surface is cool and damp. He runs one finger across it. Tiny drops cling to his skin. He smiles. His sister wakes beside him. She stretches slowly. Her blanket slips away. The cool air touches her arms. She moves closer to the oven. The fire has been lit now. Dry reeds crackle. Small flames dance. Warmth spreads. Their mother kneads dough. Press. Fold. Turn. Again. Again. Her hands move with quiet certainty. The children watch. They always watch. Though they know every step. Though they have seen it hundreds of times. There is comfort in repetition. There is peace in familiar movements. The little girl is handed a small piece of dough. She presses it gently. Shapes her own tiny loaf. Not perfect. Not round. But hers. She places it beside the others. The little boy reaches into a basket. Inside are figs. Only 2 remain. He does not touch them. Not yet. They are for later. For the evening, perhaps. Or for midday. Sweetness must be saved. Outside, Dawn begins to brighten the Nile. Mist rises softly from the water. Palm leaves sway in the morning breeze. The first fishermen step into their boats. A child follows behind. Bare feet leaving small marks in the damp earth. He carries a linen bundle. Inside is bread from yesterday. Hard now. Dry. But still good. He will soften it with water. He will eat it by the river. The smell of baking bread fills the home. The first loaf is ready. The mother tears it. Warm steam rises. Hands reach forward. Breakfast begins. Today, there is bread and soft lentils. A little onion. A few olives. The little girl dips her bread carefully. The lentils cling to the rough surface. She takes a bite. Warm. Comforting. Her brother bites into an olive. Its salty sharpness surprises him. He smiles. Their father joins them. His hands are already marked with dust from yesterday's work. Soon, they will be marked again. But for now, they eat. Together. Quietly. Outside, the village wakes. Doors open. Water jars are lifted. Voices drip through narrow lanes. Children step into the morning. Some toward the fields. Some toward the river. Some toward gardens filled with onions and herbs. The little girl walks beside her mother today. They gather cucumbers. The leaves brush softly against their arms. The vegetables are cool in their hands. One is sliced and shared immediately. Its crisp freshness is a gift. A cool taste in the warming air. Nearby, another child climbs carefully into a fig tree. Branches bend beneath small feet. The fruit hangs heavy. Purple. Soft. Sun-warmed. One fig is tucked carefully into a cloth. Saved for later. Another is eaten now. Juice on the lips. Seeds between the teeth. A simple delight. By midday, the heat presses down. The village grows quiet. Children seek shade. They sit beside walls. Beneath palms. Near the river where the breeze still moves. Lunch is unwrapped. Bread. Always bread. A little cheese today. Goat cheese. Soft. Salty. A precious bite. One child eats slowly. Trying to make it last. Another drinks from a clay cup. Cool water touches dry lips. The relief is immediate. The afternoon passes in warmth and dust. Work continues. Small hands helping. Small feet moving. And all the while, the thought of evening waits quietly in the mind. Home. Bread. The oven's warmth. Family gathered close. As the sun begins to lower, shadows stretch long across the village. Children return. Their steps slower now. Their bodies tired. Their stomachs ready. The smell of baking greets them once more. Tonight, the meal is simple. Bread. Beans. Roasted onions. And one fig, divided carefully between two children. Enough sweetness for both. The lamp burns softly. The walls glow. Outside, the Nile darkens beneath the stars. Inside, the children eat their final bites. Their eyes grow heavy. Their hands rest in their laps. Soon, the blankets will be spread. The mats prepared. And the quiet ancient night will return once more. The Nile will keep moving. The stars will keep watching. And tomorrow, when the first grinding stone begins again, bread will once again fill the air. The village rests beneath another quiet Egyptian night. The lamps have gone dark. The ovens, once bright with fire, now hold only the last hidden warmth of glowing ash. The mud brick walls, thick and steady, keep the cool air outside and the day's warmth gently trapped within. Everything feels still. Everything feels settled. Beyond the last homes, where the dusty paths give way to damp riverbank, the Nile moves patiently through the darkness. Its waters whisper against reeds and moored boats. They carry moonlight in broken lines. They carry the scent of wet earth and growing things. They carry tomorrow. Inside one small home, a child turns softly in sleep. A blanket shifts. A small foot brushes against a woven basket. Inside the basket are onions. Dry and pale. Their papery skins whisper together with the slightest touch. Beside them rests a clay bowl covered with cloth. Dough for tomorrow. Quietly rising in the night. Even while the family sleeps, tomorrow's bread is already beginning. Food never truly rests here. Someone has already prepared the next meal. Someone has already thought ahead. This is how life continues. One loaf becoming another. One day becoming the next. One hunger answered before the next has fully arrived. The children sleep on. Their faces peaceful. One little boy's hand is curled as though holding something. Perhaps he dreams of carrying figs. Or of clutching a warm piece of bread too eagerly, switching it from hand to hand while waiting for it to cool. Perhaps he dreams of the river. Of balancing at the edge of a small fishing boat while his father pulls in the nets. Dreams here are made from the ordinary. From food. From work. From warmth. From water. From the quiet comforts that shape each passing day. The stars move slowly overhead. The moon lowers. And somewhere, almost too quietly to notice, the night begins to change. The air cools further. A breeze enters through the doorway. It stirs a hanging cloth. It brushes a child's hair. It touches the smooth surface of the clay water jar. Dawn is still hidden. But it is approaching. A mother wakes. Her eyes open into darkness she knows well. She lies still for a moment. Listening. The breathing of her children. The distant murmur of the river. A single bird calling somewhere far away. Then she rises. Carefully. Quietly. Her feet meet the cool stone floor. The familiar chill makes her pause. Only for a breath. Then she moves toward the corner. To the grain. To the stone. To the first work of the day. She uncovers the basket. Barley waits inside. A little wheat mixed among it. Enough. She pours it carefully. The sound of grain against stone is soft. Almost musical. Then her hands begin their steady motion. Stone against stone. Push. Pull. Push. Pull. The room fills with that ancient sound. The sound of nourishment being prepared. The sound of care. One child stirs. A little girl. Her eyes open halfway. She does not sit up. Not yet. She simply listens. The grinding stone. The rustle of linen. The faint crackle as her mother begins to light the oven. This is how morning always arrives. Not with sunlight. Not with voices. But with work. And with smell. Soon, smoke curls upward. Dry reeds catch. A small flame begins. The room glows. Orange light dances across the walls. The little girl smiles. She can already smell the flour. Soon there will be dough. Soon there will be bread. She rises quietly and wraps her arms around her knees near the fire. The warmth reaches her slowly. It feels good against the coolness of dawn. Her younger brother still sleeps, curled tightly, one hand tucked beneath his cheek. His breathing deep. Soon, he too will wake to the smell of bread. Their mother kneads the dough. Press. Fold. Turn. The movements are slow and sure. The little girl watches. She has begun to learn. She knows how to gather the flour, how to wet her hands so the dough will not cling too much, how to flatten a small loaf. Today, her mother gives her a piece. She smiles. Her fingers press carefully, trying to make it round, trying to make it smooth. It is not perfect. It does not need to be. It will bake just the same. Outside, the Nile begins to catch the first pale light. Mist rises from its surface. The reeds shine softly. Birds move among the palms. Fishermen step quietly into their boats. A child follows behind his father, carrying a small cloth bundle. Inside is breakfast. Yesterday's bread. An onion. A few olives. Enough for later. He feels the cool mud between his toes. The river air touches his skin. He looks back toward the village. Thin ribbons of smoke rise from many homes. All across the village, bread is beginning. Back inside, the first loaf enters the oven. The room grows warmer. The smell deepens. Warm grain. Smoke. Earth. Comfort. The younger brother wakes at last. He rubs his eyes. He smells the bread. And immediately, he smiles. No words. Only hunger. Only certainty. He joins his sister beside the fire. Soon, the bread is ready. Their mother tears it. Warm steam rises. Breakfast is simple today. Fresh bread. Mashed lentils. A little onion. And a few slices of cucumber. Cool and crisp. The little boy bites into the cucumber first. Its coolness surprises him. Its freshness feels bright. His sister dips bread into lentils. Slowly. Carefully. The lentils are warm. Soft. Seasoned with herbs. Their father joins them. Quietly. They eat together. The room filled only with soft chewing and the crackle of the fire. Outside, the village wakes fully now. Voices drift. Sandals brush against dusty paths. Clay jars are lifted. A donkey calls from somewhere beyond the homes. Children begin stepping into the morning. Some toward gardens. Some toward the river. Some toward the fields. The little girl walks with her mother today. They carry baskets. They will gather onions and herbs. The garden is cool. The earth dark and damp. She kneels. Pulls gently. The onions release. Their scent rises. Sharp. Familiar. Good. Nearby, herbs are gathered. Mint. Leeks. Coriander. Their fragrance fills the basket. These small things will flavor tonight's meal. Even tiny leaves matter. Even small flavors bring comfort. As the sun climbs, the warmth grows. The little boy works beside his father, carrying small bundles, fetching water. Sweat gathers on his forehead. Dust clings to his legs. By midday, hunger returns. They rest beneath a palm. The cloth bundle is opened. Bread. Still firm. Still good. Olives. salty and rich. The onion, sharp and strong. A simple meal. A welcome meal. Nearby, his sister sits in shade beside the garden wall. She eats her own bread. A fig today. Soft and sweet. A treasure. She eats it last. Slowly. Carefully. Making sweetness linger. The afternoon passes. The heat settles heavily over everything. Children grow quieter. The village hums softly beneath the sun. And slowly, shadows begin to stretch once more. The air cools. The day softens. Children return home. Tired. Hungry. Ready. The ovens glow again. Bread rises. The smell fills every room. Tonight, there is bean stew. Warm and thick. Bread for dipping. A few roasted onions. And dates. One each. A precious ending. The children eat slowly. Their eyes grow heavy. Their bodies begin to lean against their parents. The lamp burns softly. Outside, the Nile darkens beneath the stars. Inside, the warmth of food settles into tired limbs. Soon, the blankets will be spread. The mats arranged. And sleep will come again. Gentle. Certain. Like the river. Like the bread. Like the quiet rhythm of life beside the Nile. The night has become soft again. The warmth of the evening meal has faded into memory. The bowls have been emptied. The last crumbs of bread have been brushed carefully from the woven mats. The clay lamp burns low, its small flame trembling gently in the still air. Soon, even that light will disappear. And then there will be only darkness. Only moonlight. Only the steady presence of the Nile. Outside, the river glides through the ancient land in silence. Its surface catches the pale glow of the stars. Its edges are lined with reeds that bend and sway in the night breeze. The palms lean overhead, their shadows long and quiet. Farther away, beyond the village, the fields rest beneath the sky. The barley stands motionless. The earth cools. The paths that were dusty and bright beneath the sun now seem calm and silver beneath the moon. Inside the mud-brick homes, the children are falling asleep. One by one. Slowly. A little girl curls beneath a linen cloth. Her hands smell faintly of coriander and onion. She had helped her mother in the garden today. She had pulled herbs from the dark soil. She had carried them in a woven basket, feeling their fresh scent rise around her. Now, even in sleep, that scent remains. It mixes with the smell of warm bread still clinging to the room. Nearby, her younger brother sleeps close to the cooling oven wall. He likes the warmth there. He always has. His small chest rises and falls in a peaceful rhythm. One of his hands rests open on the floor. A tiny crumb of bread still clings to his fingertip. He had eaten slowly tonight. Trying to make his date last. Trying to keep sweetness on his tongue for as long as possible. These are the small joys of childhood here. A ripe fig. A cool cucumber. A piece of cheese. A warm loaf fresh from the oven. Not large things. Not rare dreams. Only simple comforts. Yet they shine brightly in memory. Their mother lies down beside them. Her body aches from the day. From grinding grain. From kneading dough. From carrying water. From bending over the fire. But her hands are calm now. Still. At rest. Her breathing slows. Her eyes close. And the house becomes quiet. Only the faint crackle of cooling ash remains. And outside, the Nile continues its endless journey. Its waters moving as they did yesterday, as they will tomorrow, as they always have. The stars shift slowly above. The moon drifts slower. The village sleeps. Hours pass. The night deepens. And then, little by little, the darkness begins to loosen. The first breeze of dawn enters through the doorway. It is cooler than the air inside. Fresh. Gentle. It brushes against sleeping faces. It stirs the edge of a linen cloth. It touches the smooth surface of a clay jar, where droplets of cool moisture gather in the quiet. A mother wakes. As always. Before the children. Before the birds. Before the sun. She rises carefully. The stone floor is cool beneath her feet. The room is dark, but she knows every corner. Every basket. Every jar. Every familiar object. She moves toward the grain. Today there is enough. Not plenty. But enough. Barley. A little emmer wheat. She pours it into the grinding stone. And begins. Stone against stone. That ancient, patient sound. A sound that belongs to this place. To this life. Push. Pull. Push. Pull. The grain breaks slowly. Becomes flour. Becomes breakfast. Becomes strength. A little girl opens her eyes. She listens. The grinding stone. The soft rustle of linen. The first crackle of reeds as her mother lights the fire. She smiles. Morning has arrived. She rises and moves quietly toward the oven. The warmth is still only beginning. Small flames flicker. Orange light dances along the mud walls. Her mother kneads dough. The girl watches. Then kneels beside her. Today, she is given a small task. She adds water. Only a little. Carefully. She mixes it into the flour. Her fingers disappear beneath the soft dough. Cool. Sticky. Smooth. She laughs quietly. Her mother smiles. These moments are small. But important. This is how children learn. Not through lessons. But through repetition. Through hands beside hands. Through mornings like this. Her younger brother still sleeps. Curled tightly. But not for long. Soon, the smell of baking bread will wake him. It always does. Outside, the Nile begins to change color. Black becomes gray. Gray becomes silver. Mist rises gently from the water. The first birds call from the reeds. A fisherman unties his boat. The rope slips softly into his hands. A child walks beside him, carrying a small basket. Inside is bread. Yesterday's bread. Dry, but still good. There is also an onion. And a fig wrapped in cloth. A gift for later. Something sweet to save. The child breathes in the cool river air. It smells of mud. Of water. Of wet reeds. Of morning. The village behind him begins to wake. Smoke rises from rooftops. Thin and pale. Each home beginning the same work. Bread. Always bread. Back inside, the first loaf is ready. The mother removes it from the oven. Its crust is golden and warm. Steam rises. The little boy wakes. He smells it immediately. His eyes open. And before he is fully awake, he smiles. His sister laughs softly. She has been waiting. Soon, breakfast is shared. Warm bread. Beans today. Mashed and seasoned with onion. A few slices of cucumber. Cool and crisp. The little boy bites the cucumber first. Its coolness surprises him. He closes his eyes. Enjoying it? His sister dips bread into the beans. The warmth spreads through her fingers. Their father joins them. Quietly. His hands are rough. His shoulders heavy from yesterday's work. But here, for a little while, he is still. He eats slowly. The family sits close. The fire crackles. The room glows. Outside, footsteps begin. Sandals on stone. Water jars lifted. Goats wandering. Voices drifting through narrow paths. The day begins. Soon, the children step outside. The little girl walks with her grandmother today. They will gather dates. The palms are tall. Their shadows stretch across the earth. The dates hang in clusters. Dark and soft. Sweetness waiting in the morning air. She helps collect them. Places them carefully in a basket. One is given to her. A reward. She holds it for a moment. Feeling its softness. Then eats it slowly. Its sweetness fills her mouth. A treasure. Her brother walks with his father toward the fields. He carries a linen bundle. Inside is bread, olives, and cheese. A rare treat. He knows it is there. He thinks about it already. The fields shimmer beneath the rising sun. Barley moves in soft waves. The smell of warm earth rises. The work begins. By midday, the heat grows heavy. Children rest in the shade. They unwrap their meals. Bread. Olives. Cheese. Cool water from clay cups. The little boy eats the cheese last, wanting the rich taste to remain. Nearby, his sister sits beneath a palm. She eats bread and dates. The sweetness and grain together. Simple. Perfect. The afternoon drifts by. Dust rises. The village hums softly. And slowly, the sun begins to lower. Children return home. Tired. Warm. Hungry again. The ovens are glowing. The smell of bread greets them. Tonight, there is lentil stew. Warm and thick. Bread for dipping. A few roasted onions. And one fig to share. The lamp burns softly. The walls glow. The children eat slowly. Their eyelids begin to fall. The warmth of the meal settles into them. Outside, the Nile darkens. The stars return. And soon, blankets will be spread. Mats arranged. The room will grow quiet. And the ancient rhythm will begin again. The river flowing. The children sleeping. Tomorrow's bread already waiting. Now, the ancient day has finally grown quiet. The ovens have cooled. The last bowls have been emptied. The final crumbs of bread have been brushed gently from tired hands. The small clay lamp burns only faintly now, its soft flame trembling before it, too, gives into darkness. Inside the mud-brick homes, the children are asleep. Their breathing is slow and steady. Their hands are still. One child sleeps curled beside the warm oven wall, where a little of the day's heat still lingers in the stone. Another rests beneath a thin linen cloth, dreaming softly, perhaps of ripe figs or sweet dates, or of the comforting smell of fresh bread rising in the morning. Their parents sleep nearby. Their tired hands, so busy all day with grain and fire and water, are finally at rest. Outside, the village has become silent. The dusty paths are empty. The clay jars stand quietly beside doorways. The fishing boats rock gently along the riverbank. The palm trees move softly in the night breeze. And beyond them all, the Nile flows on. Calm. Steady. Endless. Its waters carry moonlight. They carry the scent of wet earth. They carry the memory of every loaf baked beside its shores. Every onion gathered from dark soil. Every fig plucked gently from its branch. Every quiet meal shared by tired families at the end of a long day. The Nile remembers it all. The children who woke each morning to the sound of the grinding stone. The mothers who shaped bread with patient hands. The fathers who returned from fields and riverbanks, weary but grateful. The small fingers that learned to knead dough. The small voices that laughed softly over bowls of lentils. The simple comfort of warm bread passed from hand to hand. These ordinary moments, so small and so easily forgotten, were the quiet heart of ancient life. Not kings. Not monuments. Not grand stories carved in stone. But warm bread. Cool water. Dusty feet. Gentle hands. And children growing slowly beside the river. Now, even these memories seem to soften. The sounds of the village fade. The scent of smoke drifts away. The warmth of the ovens cools. The stars move slowly overhead. And the Nile keeps flowing. Always flowing. Through the dark. Through the silence. Through the sleeping world. The reeds whisper at its edges. The moon glows upon its surface. The water moves without hurry. Just as it did then. Just as it always will. And somewhere, in a quiet mud-brick home beside the river, a child turns softly in sleep. A tiny hand curls beneath the cheek. A peaceful breath rises and falls. The night holds them gently. The river watches. The ancient world grows still. And now, you may rest there too. Beside the quiet Nile. Beneath the soft Egyptian stars. With the warm scent of bread in the air. With cool river water nearby. With palm leaves whispering above you. With the slow comfort of an ordinary ancient night. Let the village fade softly into darkness. Let the river carry your thoughts away. Let the last lamp go dim. And drift now. Quietly. Gently. Into sleep.